I'm Kate Shortman.
And I'm Izzy Thorpe.
And we're the Tokyo GB duet for artistic swimming.
Hi, I'm British trampoline gymnast Bryony Page, and I'm going to compete for Team GB at the Tokyo Olympics.
Hi, we're a part of the GB Women's Wheelchair Basketball team. My name's Charlotte Moore.
My name's Kayla Bell, and we've been selected to represent Paralympics GB at the upcoming Tokyo Paralympic Games.
Here's our advice for perseverance and achieving your goals.
For as long as I can remember, I've been part of sport and I've really enjoyed trampolining, and I never really thought of it as a career until I started to get into my teenage years. In 2010, when I first competed in the Senior World Championships, I was competing against people that I'd been watching and admiring for so long, and they'd competed in the Olympics and I was competing amongst them. And I qualified into the final and finished 4th at my first Senior World Championships, and that's when I felt that the Olympics is something that I might be able to achieve.
When I was like 4, my mum and dad used to take me to different sporting things to try. So I went for wheelchair tennis, wheelchair racing, and then got into wheelchair basketball when I was 8. And for me, I always loved sport. It was really nice to have like a natural progression. Ever since I went to see the London 2012 Paralympic Games, from then I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go to a Paralympics and make it a reality for me.
It's not something I've necessarily said out loud before, as I wanted to go to a Paralympics, but the dream was getting closer and so was the goal, and as soon as it kind of became a reality, I wish I'd said it a bit louder when I was younger, that I've always wanted to go.
We both grew up in very sporty families, so it was always kind of in our nature to be, in the pool, or I did gymnastics as well, so always doing sport. As soon as I started going to that elite level, I realised that I really love it and I enjoy it, and that's when I decided I wanted to do it.
It's been a goal to compete in the Olympic Games since before I can remember. I think watching London 2012, we knew some of the girls that were in the Olympic team for Great Britain. I think just seeing that progression and how much they worked hard and achieved their goals was such an inspiring moment for both of us. And even though we were quite young, I think that's what really spurred us on to hopefully achieve our goal. And it's just been a life dream, really.
Gaining back motivation once you've lost it is something that I can find really difficult. When you feel like you're not quite doing the right things in training, it's not going well, it can be demotivating. But I think for me, I love my sport and I'm really excited about trying to push my own boundaries and compete against the top in the world. So the motivation comes completely mainly from within and just wanting to break those barriers and be better than I was yesterday.
When I do lose motivation, the best part about being within a team is that I can look at my teammates to help me find that motivation back and that confidence back within myself. My biggest obstacle that I had to overcome was a head injury that I sustained in training. I'm still feeling some of the effects from it, and it happened 4 or 5 years ago. The way I got over it was to my teammates, like helping me and reassuring me when I was coming back from the injury that it was okay, and not being too hard on myself. And that's the biggest reason I love being part of a team, because if you're having a down day or a down week, you've got your teammates there to help you build the motivation back up.
My main motivator is probably Kate, because obviously we only have each other in training, so we need to help each other push to get to that next level. And I think that's why we've become who we are and we've come this far, because we've been able to push each other through training. I think having an end goal for us was a massive thing. So obviously we have Tokyo as an end goal, so we can push for that every day to keep our motivation up.
A lot of elite athletes also lack motivation sometimes, and that's normal, but yeah, just pushing through it as much as you can every day is,
I just try and focus in on training and doing the best I can every single day, every single training session, every single go on the trampoline, trying to get the best out of me and keeping the focus in the here and now.
I am not naturally the most focused person. My brain works quite a lot in different directions, but Izzy's definitely helps to keep us on track, but also I think just having a good amount of sleep, eating the right food, drinking enough and staying hydrated.
Synchro is definitely a hard one because we're in the pool for a lot of hours, so you have to stay focused for a really long time. But also everyone's different, like Kate said, some people focus much easier naturally and some people don't, but it's fine, and you just find ways to help each other, and we still have the same goal, so we still get through it and help each other.
Personally, I like to set sort of smaller goals, kind of achievable things that you can do sort of on the way, because then you can sort of tick things off on the way to achieving kind of the bigger end goal. And I think that's really important to keep the motivation. But sort of, as Kayla said, like being part of a team sport, it does really help to keep you focused and give you that drive to be the best that you can be.
I think in sport, obviously, you have to have a competitive side to you. You have to have that drive and adrenaline and want to win and want to beat other people, because that is the nature of sport. But when it comes into, you know, comparing yourself in an unhealthy way or, you know, taking it to that extreme level, it's important to use it in a constructive way. So if you're comparing yourself to someone and you can appreciate that they have certain things that you might be striving towards or you might want, that's a good way of using them to help motivate you.
I think that it is natural to compare yourself to other people, but it is important to try and stay focused on yourself, because at the end of the day, you are you and you can't change that. So it's important to, you know, love yourself and love what you're doing and love your journey.
I guess comparing yourself to other people in a sporting environment is a good thing, especially within our classification, because around the world you might look at someone with a similar impairment to you and see how you compare on a bigger stage. But I think ultimately everyone's individual for a reason.
I think within yourself, being competitive and pushing yourself to try new things and work on things that aren't necessarily a strength can be a real positive, but it's not letting that kind of affect your motivation, kind of using it as fuel to develop rather than letting it kind of hold you back and being worried about failing.
I think having a competitive nature is a good thing, for me especially, because it gives me an edge. I really want to be the best that I can be, and for that to be better than others. If you see somebody in the gym doing something and you have that competitiveness in you and you want to be better, it gives you that extra bit of drive to push that go a little bit harder. But ultimately what keeps me going is trying to drive and be better than what I was yesterday.
Having mental discipline helps, especially when you go like day-to-day life away from a basketball court and you need to stay disciplined. It is something you learn and you maybe develop as you like play sport a bit longer, and it becomes easier to focus, I guess, on your mental discipline. But I think it is important, and it helps to remember why you're doing something.
Mental discipline is really essential for training, and you can definitely learn it. It's like a muscle that you have to train. The more you do it, the stronger it gets, and it's definitely something I think I need for being a competitive athlete.
You know, it's not just about spending long hours in the pool, it's also about how you recover, rest, what you're eating. Yeah, and it is really a lifestyle to be an elite athlete, so it does take a lot of mental strength as well.
If you're doing things as well as sport, so education on the side, you need to be really organised and disciplined with yourself to be able to like do well in both of these areas. But teaching yourself mental discipline is the same for teaching yourself how to forgive yourself if you haven't stuck to your plan or you haven't eaten the right thing.
We're all human, and being self-disciplined 100% of the time is impossible. So it's just trying to remind yourself that and forgive yourself for those moments where you might make a little slip up.
Well, our coach always says to us that she'll never ask us to do something that she knows we can't do, but she also says we underestimate ourselves quite a lot. So I think definitely the pressure comes from within, and it probably comes more from ourselves putting pressure on us rather than external factors. A certain amount of that I think is good. I think it's good to be able to push yourself and keep yourself driving for perfection or excellence. But yeah, I think keeping it in a healthy perspective, making sure that it stays constructive and not too critical of yourself. And yeah, coming back to just being your own best friend and just loving everything that you're doing and enjoying the moment.
I have a massive inner critic, and it's one of my biggest challenges as an athlete and a person. The standards that I put on myself are definitely higher than what other people put on me. I always want to strive for that one extra step, and once I've hit it, I immediately want to go for the next one. But as an athlete, that's just unrealistic. So the people around me are supporting me to keep my standards in check.
Sometimes I listen to my inner critique too much and focus too much on what I need to do and what I need to get better at and what I need to develop. I think it's a really fine line between looking at what you need to do to get better, but also not letting that bring you down from where you've come from and how much better you have got. And I think trying to balance that is really important, but I think having an inner self-critique is also so important, as you use that to sort of base your judgment on what you need to do next to then push yourself further.
We've got the competitive nature that we never want to make mistakes, but mistakes are okay, and our coaches and other people set high standards for us, but they know that it's okay to make mistakes.
I probably shouldn't say this, but my parents aren't very good at trampolining, so I'm going to say it's down to hard work. Definitely have some natural talent, but I think hard work always beats that. Just got to put the effort in and have the passion to do that, and that's what's taken me to my dreams, essentially.
I think a lot of it is down to hard work and who you have around you to support you. Like, I'm really lucky that since I was really young, I had parents that would take me everywhere and allow me to train from a really young age and help with that. So I think a lot of it does come down to hard work, but also it's who you've got around you to make that happen in the first place.
I think for synchro, there's definitely a certain amount of natural, genetical advantages that you can have. You know, it's quite an aesthetic sport, so a lot of the judges are looking at how you look. If you've got naturally hyperextended knees or a good toe point, you're naturally flexible. Yeah, I would say that it does come down to a high percentage of genetic sort of advantages, but you can't get anywhere without hard work.
We've worked really hard to be able to show when we're in that water, it doesn't matter what you like, how you look or what you're born with. It's how you're swimming and how you're competing, and that should be the end result and how well you do. So I think it definitely comes down to both, but I would say probably more hard work than genetics.
I think working as a team and as working as an individual, I think having the mix is the best combination, because working in a team, you can kind of bounce off each other, be able to push one another to get better. And working individually as well, though, it allows you to just focus in on yourself, brings you back into a comfort zone that you can then expand and push yourself outside of to improve as an athlete. So I think having both working individually and working as a team can have its advantage, so mix them.
I think the easiest part is just knowing that you've got a team of people that have your back all the time. They always push you to be better and are always there to kind of motivate and help you and support you on that. I think sometimes maybe the negative is when you're around that many people for so many hours in some days, especially I think just the amount of time and being confined together can sometimes be a bit of a challenging atmosphere, but I think we've made the most of it so far anyway, and it's all been okay.
The best part, I would say, is that we get on really well. So we've known each other since we were like 7, just like sisters. We spend so much time together, so it's a really fun environment to be in. Obviously, not every day you're going to be really excited about training, because it does get hard, but I think it does make it a lot better having someone that you know that you can have a good time with and have fun with.
I'd say the hardest is probably, because we do spend so much time together, I think, the hardest part is probably just keeping it all in perspective and just really giving it everything each day. I think we try and do that anyway, but we're doing all right at it so far.
The best career advice that I've been given is to enjoy the experience and learn from every moment.
I was always told just to enjoy what you do, and I think that's such a massive thing, because if you are happy and you're in a good place and you do enjoy what you're doing, then you're going to put more into it because it's what you want to do. And of course there's days where you're not as motivated and you're not as happy, but I think that's where having a really good support network around you really helps to kind of pick you back up again. And I think, that's something that I continue to stand by now.
So just enjoy what you're doing. Don't really put loads and loads of pressure on you for the end goal, because at the end of the day, you have to live the journey to get to the end goal. I think I was putting so much pressure on myself at competitions that I wasn't actually enjoying the training that I had. So I think that's a really important thing to do.
Because the journey is the majority of the time that you'll be spending working up to the goal. If you enjoy it, it's going to look amazing too, because you can really tell the emotions and you're conveying enthusiasm for the sport. So yeah.